Ohio State's defense has the answers to keep Luke Altmyer in check.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome in, Buckeye fans, to your Feel Good Friday edition of Locked On Buckeyes, which is your daily Ohio State podcast, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, veteran sports talk host, delivering passionate coverage about your Buckeyes. And today's episode is brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every detail because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward, Mazda. Move and be moved. During today's show, I will unveil my score prediction for tomorrow's game, as well as discuss Julian Sand's role in a top 20 matchup in Champaign. But first, we're one day away from another Ohio State game, and that brings a lot of excitement to my life, and it probably is going to bring a lot of excitement to your life, too. Ohio State has been playing lights-out football this year, from the win over Texas to where we currently are. Ohio State is sitting in the right spot, and they are where they want to be, at least in the polls and with their record. But there's more work to be done. There's more work to complete. And Julian Sand and Ryan Day and Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles are trying to lead the charge for Ohio State to not lean on what they did in the past in the first 5 games of the year, but to look to tomorrow and say this is another massive test that the Buckeyes must answer and pass. And to pass said test, Ohio State's defense must tap into the players that will provide the answers to a massive test that Luke Altmyer is going to provide for them tomorrow. To keep Luke Altmyer in check, you must lean into certain players' expertise. Now, it's very, very easy in this conversation to say that Ohio State has answers on defense for Luke Altmyer. I think we all believe that. I even think Illinois fans will come out and say, yes, Ohio State's defense has answers for Luke Altmyer. They're very fast. They're well prepared. They adjust on the fly. They are doing things now this year that show that they, one, are a well-oiled machine. They believe in each other, not just the starters, but also the backups. But the preparation and communication is top-notch, and it's something that we really haven't seen this on defense at Ohio State maybe since 2019 as far as the communication, the preparation, and things of that nature. Well, this game tomorrow, we think about the answers, the specific answers with the players that can keep Luke Altmyer in check. I think it all starts with the linebackers. Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese are those two guys that have been playing phenomenal football this year. Yes, Arvell Reese has gotten a lot of attention, as he should. He has been a Swiss Army knife at times. He can beat you off the edge. He can kind of be that guy that lines up in the B gap and then is your spy. He can line up in the B gap, fake you like he's going to drop back, and then go in and rush, like the coffeehouse stunt that we all heard about. I think it was during the Texas game. I didn't know what that was called. I had seen it before numerous times watching football, but I had no idea there was a specific name for that move. It worked very well. Will it be something that is used tomorrow? It might be, but you must figure out a way to spy Luke Altmyer, because one of the things that I saw when I went back and rewatched part of Illinois' game against USC was that Luke Altmyer wasn't the guy just dropping back 3 to 5 times. Like, I expected him to not be that guy, but he is so fluid right now in the read option, the RPO game, and even catching a ball for a touchdown, a trick play in the red zone. I think when it comes to the spy game, you must mix it up a little bit, but you got to make sure that the eyeballs of Sonny Styles and Arvell Reese are confusing Luke Altmyer. But then if you want to go a little bit further, I mentioned those two guys before even mentioning Caleb Downs, who I think is the ultimate guy that Luke Altmyer has to worry about. Because if you're focused on Arvell Reese and Sonny Styles, they're not the best players on defense. Caleb Downs is the best player on Ohio State's defense. While he is not the leading tackler, that does not diminish or lower the impact he has with this team and with this unit, because every single week what we find is that opposing defensive coordinators, head coaches, and opposing offensive coordinators, that is, they don't have an answer for him. They don't. Sarkisian is a well-respected offensive mind and well-respected head coach in college football. And he even came back after the game and said Ohio State's defense specifically was doing things that he wasn't even ready for, and he couldn't figure out how to overcome. Well, a lot of that is centered around Caleb Downs, his communication, his experience playing college football, just him being a guy with insane instincts every single play. Those three guys specifically are part of the trio that are leading the charge to keep Luke Altmyer in check. But that's not it. It's not just those three guys. I think Jalen McClain, his ability to be the safety that allows Caleb Downs to do all the things Downs does so well. I think this could be a Jalen McClain game. I'm not a guy, the everydayers know. I don't come on here and say so-and-so is going to have a big game. I normally don't do that. I said that about Jeremiah Smith. At one point said he was going to have 3 touchdowns. He didn't. Also, the offense wasn't playing the way that I thought they were going to play, which tied into why Jeremiah Smith did not hit the bold projection that I made. But I think this is a Jalen McClain game. I wouldn't be shocked if he had an interception in this game. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I wouldn't be shocked if it did, because Luke Altmyer is going to try to get the ball to Hank Beatty a lot. He currently leads Illinois in receptions and receiving yards. He currently has 32 receptions and 569 receiving yards with 17.8 yards per reception. He is good. Beatty also threw a red zone touchdown pass to Luke Altmyer in the game against USC. So you have to watch out for the trick play, the ball movement, the ability to be a little shifty, and the seams were open. That's the next segment. I can't get ahead of myself. But Hank Beatty is good. He is a very good receiver. But Luke Altmyer looks for him a lot. But here's the interesting part about Buckeyes defense in the secondary. They may know who the primary guy is and that he's going to get the ball a lot. That does not mean they're going to show that is the focus on that play before the snap of the ball. So the whole pre-snap read, post-snap verification, the picture pre-snap might not be the picture post-snap. That is going to be very, very key tomorrow. But when keeping Luke Altmyer in check, it starts up front. You can look at Reese and Sonny Styles. You can look at Caleb Downs, Jalen McClain, and the rest of the secondary. If the guys up front aren't getting the job done, that limits how effective the other guys can be. I think it could be a Caden Curry game again. I'm not calling him to have 3 sacks, but I wouldn't be shocked if he did. But primarily it's on the interior. Because one thing we know about Illinois' offensive line is that it's not very strong. They gave up 7 sacks to Indiana. And Indiana does not have the players or even the coaches that Ohio State has. Indiana's a good team. Kurt Cignetti has done a lot of things well since he took over the program in Bloomington, Indiana. But they're not Ohio State. They aren't on Ohio State's level. And so I'm not even saying you have to match Indiana's production or the score. I'm not going that far. But what you need to do is take advantage of some of the weak areas on Illinois' offense that will help you keep Luke Altmyer in check. If the RPO game and the read option game is not flowing early, and let's just say Ohio State gets up 2 scores quick, well, they may go away from the RPO and the read option game and the quick pass game very quickly because they need to start trying to catch up. And if you're playing catch up early, that plays into Ohio State's favor. Caden McDonald, to me, is a guy that can be a game wrecker this weekend, a complete game wrecker. But not only him, Caden Curry, Bo Atkinson, and Keanu Jackson Jr., those guys are going to get the names and get the attention. I'm looking to see what Will Smith Jr. does tomorrow because he has been a guy that's played a lot in some obvious passing situations and has made some noise. He has made some tackles, and he has been a disruptor at times when he comes in his backup role. I think tomorrow, Illinois is not going to be ready for Ohio State's 8-man rotation up front, 4 D tackles, 4 defensive ends, Arvo Reese playing on the edge, playing on the inside, lining up in the A gap, the B gap, or on the outside. They're not ready for it. So while they're not ready for it, and Ohio State has answers to keep Luke Altmyer in check, they must make sure that they utilize these players correctly, and I believe they will. Matt Patricia is a wizard with the defense, has a pencil in his hat every single weekend. Looking forward to seeing what the Buckeyes DC does tomorrow in Champaign, Illinois. I am also looking forward to seeing how Julian Sand plays tomorrow in Champaign because this is a game that Julian Sand can remind everyone or keep at the forefront of everybody's mind that he is a dude and he's ready to take down any player in any defense that's right in front of him. This episode is brought to you by DoorDash. It's almost the weekend. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. For Ohio State, Cardinal Tate delivered in a big way. Homie went off a week ago. 9 catches, 180 plus receiving yards, and that touchdown that we'll be talking about for the rest of the season when the pressure was on. Cardinal Tate came through. No hesitation, no delay. And if you've been watching week after week, this performance wasn't a fluke. Cardinal Tate is on a streak. And just like Cardinal Tate delivered for the Buckeyes, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash streaks. You save every Saturday you order, stack it up all season, and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday. Keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. This episode is also brought to you by FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you don't want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet, put down $5, and if it hits, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you've got a little something riding on the action. Whether you're a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Thank you all for tapping Locked On Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. The everydayers have gotten a great glimpse into my brain in regards to Julian Sanders how he has played so far this year. This is a great quarterback duel. I really wasn't thinking that Sam would be at this level right now heading into the game against Illinois if you ask me about this matchup in the preseason. But with the way that Ohio State is playing, and with the way that Julian Sand really is playing, homie's been really efficient. It makes me wonder if Hartline and Day are going to continue to put more on Sand's plate tomorrow in Champaign. I think they should. I also think they should have done it a while ago, but I understand why they didn't. Home game against Texas, number 1 team in the country, was his first start. His first road game was against Washington, who had a 22-game home winning streak that dated back to 2021. So I know all those storylines are real, and I think Ryan Day realized it might be best to dial it back a little bit for this young man. But he has showed you, even before you started to kind of put more on his plate, he was ready. He was ready for more. He wasn't going to shy away from the task, and I think Ohio State, with Ryan Day's leadership, can continue to put more on his plate, can continue to allow him to roll with the offense and roll with the punches every single day. Don't slow down. Don't try to allow the situation or some storylines to kind of cloud your vision and cause you to dial it back a little bit. No, the progression is there. He has already showed that he can handle a whole lot more. Even Ryan Day discussing that, saying is rattling off play calls in the huddle like it's clockwork, baby. They said sometimes those things are a paragraph. I mean, it's 15 parts to it. And he goes on one break. You're like, first off, that sound on the drop of a hat, I didn't know that was going to come. Sorry for your eardrums if it was a little bit too loud. But I didn't know. There's so many things that Ryan Day is discussing right now that he hasn't really shared. That's great. That's wonderful information. He said, well, Howard did that very well a year ago. And I'm thinking, this guy is a second-year college football player. Played only in mop-up duty a year ago. And he was literally your third-string quarterback because I don't think Ryan Day wanted to put the pressure on him of a true freshman being your backup. But I know, in a pinch, they put Devin Brown in, but everybody and their mama knew that Julian Sand was better than Devin Brown. There's a reason why Devin Brown isn't starting this year, and Julian Sand is. I'll leave it at that. But I will also leave you with this about Julian Sand and him doing some more things with the Buckeyes offense. I don't think all of the things that they're going to put on him are all about him throwing the football. A lot of it is finding certain ways to incorporate the run, to set up the pass, but so Ohio State's offense can be well-rounded. We have complained about Ohio State's rushing game. Oh, they're not running the ball well. These guys don't look great. It's a little bit weird. Bo Jackson looks good, but Donaldson gets stood up in the hole in the goal line and gets dropped, and Peoples is still trying to figure it out. We make all these statements about this team and the rushing attack. They're averaging over 5 yards a carry and over 171 yards a game. So by the way that we talk about Ohio State's rushing game and what they're actually doing with the stats and right before our very eyes, it's almost like, well, maybe they're doing better than we thought. They are. And while they're doing better than we thought, they need to get better. Are the standards high? Absolutely. Is it going to change? Absolutely not. And the everydayers right here at Locked on Buckeyes, y'all will call me out and say, hold on, homie. Why are you going a little bit softer than boys? What happened to keeping the standard, and not lowering it for anything? Whatever happened to you being the tough guy, you being the critic that we have known you to be? What is the soft stuff? And the everydayers here, trust me, I know y'all. Y'all will call me out and say, you getting soft. You shouldn't get soft right here. And we're not going to get soft in Ohio State's rushing game. We know what the numbers are. But what our eyeballs tell us is that this unit can get better. I think Bo Jackson can average 100 rushing yards a game. While Ohio State is still trying to figure out the 3-man rotation, which I don't think should be a 3-man rotation, I think all 3 running backs have a role. One of the roles might be just primarily being a backup. Saying, I don't think a 3-man rotation with this unit is needed. I don't think so at all. I get the health factor, and you get your best backs, a true freshman, and so that goes into it. But trust me, I don't think that's needed at all. I could easily see a scenario where tomorrow against Illinois, Sand throws for about 275 and 4 touchdowns. The Buckeyes rush for over 200 yards. And you look back and think, okay, that was a better game plan. You're not trying to you have Sand throw for 350 and 3. No, 350 yards, 3 touchdowns. No. You're trying to figure out how in a tough, almost like tough, not going to be one of the louder environments Ohio State's played in this year or even will play it all season long. But I do think there's a scenario where tomorrow in this environment, the Buckeyes offense is just fine. The defense has answers, but also Ohio State has ways to take advantage of some of the holes in Illinois' defense. Illinois' pass coverage is not the best. When I went back and watched some of the game against USC, I didn't really want to look at the Purdue game because Purdue really isn't that good. USC is a better team. I also wanted to see how they bounce back from the game, from the loss to Indiana. The seams with this Illinois defense were open, and Jade Mayava found them a lot. A lot. And as Ryan Day mentioned, I forget what time he was behind the microphone and mentioned this, but Jeremiah Smith was matched up with Max Clare during the offseason to kind of toughen him up. And I think that's something that's going to be helpful in this game because Max Clare has become a better blocker because he really didn't have to block at Purdue. Purdue was down so much last year. You're playing catch up from Jump Street even before the ball is even kicked off to start the game. You're automatically playing catch up. And that was a big reason why when it came to Max Clare, yes, his numbers were really good, but he didn't have to block. He was basically a receiving tight end only. Well, at Ohio State, everybody knows you have to be able to block to get on the field. And Max Clare has not only gotten tougher, he's been able to block very, very well. And I think for this game, this could be a game where Max Clare and Brandon Ennis are guys that have 3 to 5 catches apiece. I don't know if either guy is going to score, but I can see one of them or even both of them having over 50 receiving yards. Why? Because they're going to, if you are able to be there in that slot and find a soft spot in the zone, you don't have to really get all the yak yardage. You just got to catch the ball, secure that thing, and make sure you're moving the chains. That is all. I think for Sand tomorrow, it's not all about his arm. It's a lot about his brain and what's ahead of what's above his shoulders to make sure that Ohio State's offense is moving down the field consistently. They're constantly staying in front of the chains. And if, for some odd reason, they get into a penalty funk, he is able to get them out of that and score touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Speaking of scoring multiple touchdowns, that is a theme you're going to find with my score prediction for tomorrow's game. I will unveil that next. This episode is brought to you by Mazda's Moving the Game Forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, move culture, and keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward is not just one moment. It's a lot of moments in regards to Julian saying this young man has been a lot of fun to watch, a second-year player, a first-year starter, and he is leading the country in completion percentage through 5 games. And his ability to make all the throws, to have a quick release, and to be efficient and accurate every single time he's on the field, man, it's been a breath of fresh air and a lot of fun, I'm sure, for Ryan Day to coach up and to watch every single week. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Thank y'all for tapping in Locked on Buckeyes and making this show your first listen of the day. So I normally have grown accustomed to sharing my score prediction on a Thursday crossover episode. There was not a crossover this week. And so this is one of the rare times I'm sharing my score prediction for the first time on a Friday. And I have gone back and forth with, oh my, I just realized what the two numbers I've gone back and forth with, and you'll see why I paused when you hear the number I was going to pick and the number that I almost changed it to. But I got Ohio State winning this one big. I did a video that aired on the college football kickoff, a partnership between Locked On and Fire TV, that if you tap into that show, you'll be able to see that little video. But I believed all week that Ohio State's going to win by at least 20 points. That's not diminishing how good Illinois is or what the home advantage can be, even though I think there'll be a lot of Buckeye colors right there inside G's Memorial Stadium. I actually went back and double checked to make sure I had the right name for the stadium, because I know sometimes it's blank Memorial Stadium, but this one is G's Memorial Stadium. It just changed about a month ago. There's a school tie and I think a dollar amount tie to why G's is in front of Memorial Stadium starting September 9th of this year. But I think this is a game where Ohio State is literally just too much for Illinois from Jump Street. Not just offensively, not just defensively. I could even see a punt return or kickoff return for a touchdown. We know how rare that is and how odd that sounds, but I think this is the kind of game where Ohio State does some things differently with special teams, maybe tries to put a different player back there. Caleb Downs, good return punts in his first 2 years playing college football. He did return many punts at Alabama, but he returned one for a touchdown. He did return many punts last year for Ohio State, but he returned one for a touchdown. And I think with this game being a rivalry game, a top 20 matchup, Ryan Day's doing it as a top 10 matchup, also there's a trophy on the line, why not do things you don't normally do to win the game? Putting Caleb Downs back there to return punts makes a whole lot of sense in this one. What also makes a whole lot of sense is Ohio State winning this game 45-7. Now, I don't buy into all the trends that the kids have. And when I say that, even if you're an audio listener, maybe watching right now, you may watch it, you see my head, you see my paper, you see me looking down a lot and just thinking about, man, what is on his mind? I literally almost wrote down 45-6. My original number was 45-7, and I stuck it there. And I didn't even realize the whole, I'm not saying the numbers, but people on the YouTube can see the hand motion that I'm making. I didn't even realize the connection between my current score prediction and the other one, but here we are. I think Ohio State's defense is going to be too much. And the only touchdown I see Illinois scoring is on the opening drive, similar to how Minnesota got a little bit of traction on their opening drive. It was a long drive. Kind of a bend, but don't break mindset. I could see 45-7 being that. It could be Luke Altmyer read option, skedaddling around the right side. The next thing you know, Matt Patricia makes some quick adjustments, and the rest is history. I do see a scenario where Saint throws 4 touchdowns tomorrow. And that might be a low number, but I can see him scoring 4 touchdowns, and then I could see Bo Jackson scoring 2. Bo Jackson scoring 2, and then a field goal by Fielding. Field goal could be late in the fourth or beginning of the fourth quarter. I just see a scenario where in this game, there's nothing Illinois can do to slow down Ohio State. The one thing that saves the Fighting Illini is the final buzzer of the fourth quarter when that clock hits 000 once again and the game is over. That's it. I don't think there's anything Illinois can do with their injuries or even their deficiencies on offense and defense that can contain Ohio State's firepower on offense or can not allow Ohio State to tap into all their answers for Luke Altmyer to keep that young man in check. This team this year is really close to being in the conversation of, I can't say better than last year yet, but if you get through Penn State and even through the regular season and you win the Big Ten title, then I think you can start to have legitimate conversations about this year's team potentially being better than last year's. Now, you can't be better if you don't win the national championship, but I think with the way they're trending, offensively and defensively, even special teams with the trick play where Ennis throws the ball backwards to Lorenzo Styles Jr. up the left sideline, got a great return on that one. Also, very smart of them to throw the ball to a former wide receiver because that was a true defensive back. It could have been dropped, but Lorenzo had not lost his hands that he had, and he was a former receiver at Notre Dame. Proud of him for that one. Really happy. It was fun to watch. But I think this team can continue this path, can continue to play the same way that they are, and Illinois is not good enough. No, I mean, there really aren't many teams that can even come close to slowing down Ohio State's offense. The Illinois' defense is not one of them, nowhere close. I'm looking forward to this game. What's your thoughts on the score prediction? Am I crazy for saying 45-7? That's where my mind has been the entire time. When I went to put a score prediction, I went on our graphic to kind of change it and kind of put a new picture in there for the week. I didn't waver this week with my score for either Ohio State or Illinois. The only thought that I had, and it's realistic, let's be a little honest now. The only thought that I had was, would Illinois score a touchdown? And if they did, when would it happen? That was the only thought. The 45 part, I really could have put 56, 59 points. But I don't think Ryan Day is that man. I don't think Ryan Day right now is trying to get out of his slower, longer, more methodical approach to offense. I mean, at one point, Ohio State had one of the slower moving offenses in the country. That's not what we're used to with Ryan Day. And I think there's still a thought that you want to see your guys do it in a game before you have to do it in a game. And to me, this is a game where you don't need to go slow. You can go more up-tempo, go no huddle, and move because your quarterback can do it and your players can do it. But if the formula you currently have is working, I understand why Ryan Day has decided to not change it. Even though it's not my cup of tea, it's not something I would prefer. If I were the coach at Ohio State, I am not. Ryan Day's a way better coach than me. I would not say that he is not, but I would try to go tempo, man, because I want to see what my young quarterback can do. I want to see what this young man can do when going a little bit faster. Maybe you say that for Camp Randall and do it in front of Luke Fickell. I don't know. Illinois is better than Wisconsin, and so maybe your mindset right now is, let's just get through Illinois. I'm looking at it like a top 10 matchup. It's a big-time opponent. This isn't your typical Brett Bielema team, but it could become a Brett Bielema team at the drop of a hat. So I don't want to do anything too crazy. But Wisconsin, they're not that good. How about we try something a little bit different, go a little bit faster, and not so much try to go for style points, but score a little bit more than we have this year. That might be the path and the motto for the following week. But for this week, it's keeping Luke Altmyer in check and making sure that Julian Saint continues to manage a game at an elite level. Speaking of doing things at an elite level, Locked On is doing something very elite in a big way right now because college football fans, Locked On and Fire TV present college football kickoff, your ultimate college football weekly preview. Drake Toll of Locked on Big 12 leads the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, former college star Jesse Holley, and Locked On's local experts. Special this week, one, I was actually on the show this week discussing why Ohio State will beat Illinois by at least 20 points, but also former college football legend Bob Stoops was on the show as well. So you never know what's going to happen with college football kickoff. It's a college football preview only Locked On can do. Catch college football kickoff every Thursday throughout the season only on Fire TV. You can follow me on any social media platform at jstevens07. Send every email to jstevens317@gmail.com. This has been Locked on Buckeyes on a Friday. We'll see you next time.